Today on Rescue USA, a young family trapped in rising floodwaters in North Carolina cling on for dear life.
We told the kids, we're about to get swept away, find a tree, do what you can to stay above water.
And it will take 2 brave volunteers to save them.
We get there, the bridge is completely overtaken with water. There's about a quarter mile of just fast running water.
And later, when a flash flood hits, a first responder literally puts his life on the line.
What happens if the car breaks free while I'm on the vehicle? They'd have to cut the line, which essentially leave me on that vehicle going downriver further for a ride.
The first responders hear a call to action and they answer it, despite the fact that they too are put into danger.
In a natural disaster, we can always count on police, firefighters, and countless other rescue services to jump in. Like when Hurricane Florence hit in September 2018, severely flooding parts of North and South Carolina, 2 heroic volunteers rushed in and saved those trapped in all that water.
22 miles outside of Wilmington sits the quiet town of Curry, North Carolina. With a population of 2,300, life is pretty simple there. Justin Massey has lived there since he was born.
It's real laid back, not a lot of traffic, a couple country stores, everybody knows everybody. Kind of small town Mayberry thing going on.
But in the late summer of 2018, a hurricane was about to shake things up.
Hurricane Florence, it was coming into Wilmington as a Category 4, and at the time, we had never experienced anything like that in Wilmington. Like I said, I've lived here for 30 years, and we've never had to deal with a Category 4 before. You know, the worst we've had is a 3, and generally when they make landfall, they plummet quickly to a 2, a 1, sometimes even just a tropical storm.
Hurricanes are rated on the Saffir-Simpson scale, a Category 1 being the lowest with a maximum wind speed reaching 95 miles per hour, and 5 being the highest with winds beyond 157 miles per hour.
Despite the Category 4, many people in North Carolina, including Justin, take it all in stride.
In all honesty, you know, we prepare for it, but you don't really listen to the news after 30 years anymore. You grab you some candles and you go at it.
But when the storm refused to relent, Justin started to pay closer attention.
I wasn't really stressed out about it until it got really close, and it had not dropped. It was still a Category 4.
But his girlfriend was pregnant, and their 2 small children were potentially in harm's way. So Justin made the smart choice to get out.
We decided that we were gonna evacuate because I was 36 weeks pregnant, and we didn't want me to go into labor and be stranded. So we decided to go to Florida, where we spent about 5 days in a hotel with 2 kids and our dog.
Many people can become complacent in the face of a natural disaster. Packing up and evacuating your home can be a major inconvenience, but it can mean the difference between life or death.
As Justin and his family headed south away from the storm, 2 other people were also keeping a close eye on it. Sam Hott and Jordan Munns are co-owners of a company that provides airboat tours of the Florida Everglades.
Owning our own business and having our boats, and we have the resources to help. It just allows us to go do good, so we look for opportunities to help when we can.
And it looked like Florence was gonna just swamp the Carolinas, and so we knew pretty quickly that we were gonna have to get up there and see if we can help.
And we just kind of put things together, and as we're traveling up there to the affected area, we'll start calling EOCs and Sheriff's Office and fire stations and say, hey, where's the biggest need? We're coming, we have airboat assets, we're willing to help.
On September 14th, Hurricane Florence made landfall, drowning the Carolinas in up to 35 inches of rain.
Hurricane Florence had a lot of rain, and where we were traversing through in North Carolina and South Carolina, it was a lot of flooding.
Meanwhile, after 5 days of being evacuated, Justin, Kelly, and their 2 children were getting antsy. After checking the forecast, they just hoped that it would be safe to get back to North Carolina.
We were getting cramped and anxious, ready to come home in the hotel room. So we waited for the kids to fall asleep. It was about 11 o'clock, and we got on the road.
By the time they made it back to Curry, it was 3:30 in the morning, and that is when their nightmare began.
Once we reached about 10 minutes from home, near Moores Creek Battlefield, we crossed an area where there was a little bit of water in the road, and I grew a little concerned, and I even made the comment of, this isn't a place that usually has water in the road. It's strange that the other bridges were open and there's water here, you know, but it was only 6 or 8 inches of water, so I drove on through it, and we went around the curve, and I kind of got the feeling I needed to back up, and as the truck leveled off and our headlights rose and you could see, it was water for like the next half a mile. It was just rushing water as far as you could see. At that point, my stomach dropped and I knew we were in a very bad situation.
As they crossed over that last bridge, their truck stalled. They dialed 911, but there was no way to get help to them. To make matters worse, the water was rising. Justin and Kelly knew that if they didn't get out quickly, they could get trapped.
The water was just rushing and rushing and rushing, and I just thought to myself, we're gonna die. If we don't get out, we're gonna get swept away. We've gotta do something.
We climbed out onto the roof of the truck. My daughter was terrified once she realized exactly what was going on. I felt like we had to do something. You could tell the truck was moving, and it was moving. I didn't know how much further it was gonna go before we toppled off of the road.
Justin could see the tops of trees sticking out of the river's current next to the bridge. He made a desperate decision for his family.
We're gonna walk until we fall, and when we fall, you have to grab a tree.
Justin grabbed his 4-year-old son and family dog, while Kelly held on to their 6-year-old daughter, Celine.
There was a point where I kind of stopped and I realized I couldn't take another step. The next step I tried to take, that was the one. We went down. We all kind of went down together.
Suddenly, the entire family was being washed away in the deluge, and that is when the unthinkable happened.
I lost my son when I fell. I think that, for me, was probably the most horrifying part of everything there is he slipped out of my hands. I remember swinging my arms around trying to find him in the water, but I had my eyes open, but you couldn't see anything.
After a powerful hurricane hit North Carolina, Justin Massey and his family made the fateful decision to return home before the slow-moving storm had passed. Their truck stalled on a flooded bridge, and they found themselves awash in the torrential currents.
We told the kids, we're about to get swept away, find a tree, just do what you can to stay above water. And I was able to hold on to Celine, and we grabbed a tree.
But soon after Justin went into the water, he lost his grip on his son and their family dog. Justin started slowly moving from tree to tree, searching for Cameron.
And I yelled his name, and I yelled his name. It felt like I was calling him for 15 minutes. I finally stopped calling him because my voice was hoarse. It was a moment where I really thought he was gone for good. After I put my head down on a tree that I was holding onto and just cried for probably 30 seconds, I heard him start calling back.
Miraculously, the 4-year-old had managed to grab onto a tree branch, but he wouldn't be able to hold on for long.
I don't know how he did it. I was so proud of him, but he had also found a good tree where he could climb up and get out of the water. Yeah, it was the greatest moment. Shortly after that, my dog swam back up, who we hadn't seen, and I was pretty certain was gone as well.
Justin and his family remained out there in the dark for hours, quickly losing hope.
The sun finally come up, and 30 minutes went by and we didn't hear anything. 45 minutes went by and we didn't hear anything, and now I'm starting to feel like it's been daylight for a couple hours and I haven't heard anything.
But what they didn't know was Sam Hott and Jordan Munns were at a local fire station, and an incredible stroke of luck, they overheard a team of rescuers talking.
And they said, yep, there's nothing we could do. The family's in the trees, the water is too swift, it's too dangerous. We pretty much said, here's our phone and a map, show us exactly where they are, we want to go help.
Sam and Jordan did exactly what true heroes do. They hear a call to action and they answer it, despite the fact that they too are put into danger.
They were ready and willing to help, even though it would definitely be a risky maneuver.
We get there, the bridge is completely overtaken with water. There's about a quarter mile of just fast running water.
And so we take off and we get to about where the boat is and realize water's too swift. We got to go all the way across.
They finally managed to make it around just close enough to call out and get to Justin and his family.
The moment when I heard the airboat coming, me and Celine started screaming for help, and then Justin and Cameron started screaming.
Come to my voice! Come to my voice!
We're straight back.
Straight back! Come on back! All right,
Oh my gosh.
Here, we're gonna load you up right on the side here.
We got them on the boat, and he says she's out there, and she's 8 months pregnant. And all of a sudden, everything changed, and we were like, wait, what? And we knew things got a little more urgent.
Come on back, straight back! So Sam swam upstream and grabbed them, put life jackets on them, and floated back to the boat. And then we had the whole family. I mean, the dad, he just broke down and was crying, and he was thanking God and was thankful for us to be there.
A few weeks after their rescue, Kelly gave birth to a healthy baby. Both she and Justin know how very fortunate they were.
The definition of a hero is someone who does something for the sheer goodwill of it, not, for any personal gain. I can't imagine that word describing somebody any better than it does the two men that came and saved us.
They saved our lives. They did what they had to do to get through the trees because it wasn't easy to get to us. Reunited all of us. They were lifesavers.
When we think of desert climates, usually we think dry and hot, and most of the time that's true. But areas like the Yucca Valley in California's Mojave Desert are also susceptible to flash floods. And in February of 2019, Thomas Mallon found out just how quickly that desert weather can turn and leave you in a fight for your life.
Located between the San Bernardino Mountains and Joshua Tree National Park lies the community of Yucca Valley. With its mountain views and natural beauty, Yucca Valley appeals to people of all ages. 85-year-old Thomas Mallon has lived here for 37 years.
Yucca Valley is a fantastic place to live. It really is. I love it here. The climate is great.
And there's so many things to do. You have all the water sports that are in the mountain areas. You have all the outdoor stuff, motorcycles, quads, just a whole bunch of things.
But in the winter months, you also have something else, volatile weather.
We can get some pretty good downpours, and if we get the heavy winter storms that come through, we can have flash flooding.
But local agencies always keep a watchful eye when the storms roll in.
Every time we look at the weather and we see a cell or a pattern start to build that we anticipate an event like that, we pre-plan. We put dive team members in place.
Many agencies, especially those in areas prone to flash floods, have first responders specially trained in swift water rescue, and they put their lives on the line in every rescue mission.
In February of 2019, both the sheriff and firefighters in the Yucca Valley knew that there was a strong chance for flash flooding.
The weather that day was very severe. We had thunder cells in the area that we're flying to. We had severe winds even getting to that area and heavy rain.
But by 5:30 that evening, the storms had mostly passed.
The stars were shining, the pavement was dry. I had no thought of any danger because it was a beautiful night after the rain had stopped.
With no perceived danger in immediate sight, Thomas got in his car and headed into town to get some dinner. But along the way, the roads began flooding. A highway patrolman directed Thomas and the car ahead of him to make a turn off the road.
And the man who was ahead of me, he made the right-hand turn, and I was following his tail light because I wasn't familiar with this part of the Yucca Valley.
With the water flowing over the pavement, it was difficult to make out the parameters of the road. Without realizing, both drivers then veered off into a ravine that was now a roaring river.
You have no idea of how much power that water has. It can take a 18-wheeler and flip it on its ear.
The water was so powerful that both cars were barreling through the river like driftwood. To his horror, he watched the car ahead of him flip over and continue down the ravine. And that is when something happened that most likely saved Thomas's life.
I was rocking along, and then all of a sudden, it stopped. My car stopped. It's like I hit something solid.
What Thomas didn't realize was that he had hit a slab of cement in the middle of the ditch that stopped his car in its tracks. Now he faced another problem, though. His car was rapidly filling with near-freezing water, and he had no way to escape.
I couldn't get the windows down. I couldn't get the door open because of the water. It was like a stacked deck.
In February of 2019, flash floods ripped through the desert community of Yucca Valley. Unaware of the dangerous conditions, Thomas Mallon found himself trapped in his car in the middle of a torrential river.
I thought to myself, I said, you can die here. This black, muddy water was coming over the top of the car. I felt like I was in a tomb.
Thomas was in a literal life or death situation, but fortunately for him, the first responders in the area were already prepped and ready for any emergency that might arise.
I was the first one there from the fire department. And when I got on scene, the car was in the river. The water was up over the hood. I could see movement inside the vehicle, so we knew we had a rescue.
I just kept thinking, wow, he must be panicked, terrified, being stuck in that vehicle.
Flash floods pose a number of risks aside from just the rushing water. As floodwaters gain momentum, they also pick up boulders, logs, and other debris, making rescue attempts extremely dangerous.
Firefighters knew that there was no way they were getting to Thomas from the shore. They would have to call in air support from the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. Their plan? Drop a rescue swimmer from a helicopter down to Thomas and then pull him out. But the mission would not be easy.
So there were several obstacles around where his vehicle was. There were some telephone wires and power lines that ran just behind where I wanted to put the helicopter.
So, with extreme precision, pilot John Anderson hovered the helicopter as rescue swimmer Mark Rios dropped down onto Thomas's car.
All right, coming off comms, okay?
With no time to lose, Mark broke through the back window and climbed into the car.
I had to grab onto him and physically wrestle him out of the vehicle and onto the trunk. I told him, hey, I'm gonna have to put this horse collar on you.
Hook in hand. He's on the move.
And with that, Thomas was airlifted to the side of the road where paramedics were waiting.
It was inclement weather, very difficult hoist. Everybody did a great job.
Still, for the rescuers involved, this one went down as one of the most memorable rescues of their careers.
This was the most difficult rescue just because of the dynamics of everything going on. The wind, the rain, the helicopter, the proximity to power lines.
Recently, Thomas had a chance to meet and personally thank them all.
Thomas, when we arrived on scene, we saw your car and we knew you were in a bad spot. That water was almost all the way up to the roof. It was definitely up to the windshield.
That's right.
I can only imagine what you were feeling inside.
Fear, panic, name it. I felt all that. Then I heard you break out that window, and man, I thought, whoa, what now? I didn't know what you were going to do. I didn't know that was the procedure. And then I realized help is here. But anyway, I stayed very calm, and I was thinking, boy, thank you, Lord. That's what I was thinking. I've been wanting to thank you face to face ever since that thing happened.
Cars can be replaced, but you, sir, I am so glad we're here, and I appreciate the thank you, and it means a lot to us.
In all types of natural disasters, there are brave heroes. Some are volunteers, some are professional, but all risk their lives and their own safety to help those in need. And we owe them all of our gratitude and admiration. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ginger Z, and we'll see you next time.